Say hey and welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me today, the legendary, the illustrious Donnie Rightside. My man Donnie, how's the baseball season treating you so far?
Doing good so far here. Still letting these numbers stack up, Jose, because I'm anticipating a big May here once the weather does turn. But it looks like, some signs of life here in that totals market from yesterday and a little bit earlier on today.
I was thinking the same thing. All the talk about the juice or the, dead ball now, and all these numbers are starting to go up and up and up a little bit. I'm like, oh no, everyone's starting to catch on a little bit, and then the balls are coming back. But yeah, we'll talk about that. That makes me a little fearful for my card today, but we'll see how that goes. But we will definitely talk about it. Let's get right into Say Hey Plays 21. We can drink now. How lovely. Say Hey Plays 21 now. Right now, we are 70. Actually, I should update that. We are 80 and 62 now. I believe we're 24 and plus 24, 61 units. There we go. There's some math. I'm not good. Plus 24.61 units. Yesterday, we went 4 and 2 plus 1.9 units. I had a pretty, it was an interesting day. I would call it successful, like you guys just heard. White Sox. The White Sox are kind of dead to me. I bet them first 5 yesterday. They come back today and get a win, but I need to see more from them. And I'm kind of off the White Sox bandwagon. And if you have White Sox futures, maybe you should be a little trepidatious. But we'll see how that team develops. They lose Eloy. No, it was Eloy Jimenez. Yeah. He tore his hamstring. So I don't know what that team is doing, but they break their 8-game losing streak today. So we'll keep an eye on them. I had the Mets under yesterday. It was very easy. They come back. They hit me again today. I had the Mets under again. They smacked me in the mouth with Steven Matz and Carlos Carrasco. I had a Boston Red Sox first 5 under with both pitchers on the mound there that I thought was going to have a good start. Shout out to Nick Pivetta having the best start of his season like I expected, but not enough. Unfortunately, not enough. And I also had the other loss of my day yesterday was the Rays and the Seattle Mariners. I had the under in that first 5, I believe. Actually, it was the full game, and the Rays just turned into a shit show, which I expect them to do the exact opposite of today. Because right now, Donnie, I had 10 plays on the card. Now I have 8, but it's a pretty thick card for me today, Donnie, and I'm excited to talk about it. I think we should jump right into it. But how do you feel about this card going into it so far?
Yeah, it's not bad. There's actually, as we start to get more at bats and more, pitching statistics that we can use, there is one game on the card tonight that I do like for a team total over. And also, I'm starting to pick out some of these player props here, hitter props, primarily trying to say, okay, if you're going to parlay 2 guys to get 1 base hit, comes out to be like a plus 150, plus 140 in that range, depending on who you pick. But also trying to dip myself into the market here of getting an RBI, because sometimes those 2 and 3 to 1 tickets here, they can stack up, and you go 1 and 1 in that market each night, Jose, put some good coin in your pocket.
Yeah, no, I could see that for sure. I mean, the RBIs are coming. They are coming. It's interesting to see how this changes, but we'll jump right into this. I think it's let's see here, 11-game card here. It's going to be a fun time. First game on the docket, Aaron Ashby and the Milwaukee Brewers versus the changed. It was supposed to be Bryce Wilson, but now it is Dylan Peters. Pittsburgh Pirates here. Right now, I've got nothing on this game. Milwaukee sits at a minus 172 favorite on Bovada, plus 142 for the Pirates, 7.5. The total. I like Ashby, honestly. I thought Ashby was going to be a bet-on pitcher, and I wanted to take him somehow in this way. I was honestly leaning towards a Milwaukee run line again, but they make the pitcher change. They put in a lefty. Milwaukee, 28th rated runs created plus against lefties, 62. First 5 under here, perhaps, again. But I'm ultimately going to stay off this spot. Need Ashby to show me something here. He has 93.4 stuff plus. And if you watch Jimmy Betting with the Bag with Jimmy the Bag earlier this morning, I did mention that I'm into this number called Stuff Plus. Basically just measures the pitcher's stuff. I think it's out of 100 scale. So I should say it's out of 100 plus 100. There's a plus at the end of the thing. Everyone gets that. But he has 93.4 stuff plus, which is kind of low. Location 99 plus. Location plus is another stat. It's at 99. So like I said, I'm off this game entirely. Maybe lean towards the Brewers run line here, but nothing for me here, Donnie. What about you?
Yeah, if we're taking a look here, I think I'm in agreement with you on the under, even though it is a low number in that 7.5 range. If we take a look at Peters, the lefty, Milwaukee just doesn't line up all that well. Now, they're going to stack a lot of right-handed bats in the lineup tonight. You take a look at what Yelich and Wong anticipated as the only lefties there for the Milwaukee Brewers, and everybody else. Look at the weighted on base averages here. Keep in mind, again, Jose, right? 320, 325 is about your average for Major League Baseball for a weighted on base percentage. If we take a look at the way this lineup profiles being the Milwaukee Brewers going against a lefty, it's terrible. McCutchen, 286 weighted on base percentage. Adams, 287. Yelich, 245. Renfroe, 213. Hira, 187. Kane, 236. And on and on and on. So if we're looking from a first five perspective, I think the under does make a lot of sense in this game.
Yeah, I don't hate I wouldn't hate anyone from taking it. And shout out to everyone watching the show. Appreciate you guys and appreciate all the comments. And by the way, I had a question from Jedi for Life. Where am I getting the Stuff Plus numbers? I think his last name is pronounced Saris. Saris on The Athletic. I'll drop the link right there for you. I paid for an Athletic subscription because I hope they stay alive because it make us better gamblers. And he comes out with the numbers for fantasy baseball. But it just so happens I wasn't looking at the numbers until yesterday, actually. All the pitchers that I've liked and bet on this year, like the Matt Brashes of the world, etc., all are very high on that Stuff Plus matrix. So you got to look at those numbers and look at Pitching Plus and see what you like in these pitchers. And I think that those pitchers with high Stuff Plus pitchers are going to be bet on this year. So we got to keep an eye on that. And he updates it, I believe, every month. So we will have a new one, ideally, I believe, a couple weeks or so, a week or so. Next game on the docket here, Padres versus the Cincinnati Reds. Mackenzie Gore versus Vlad the Impaler Gutierrez here. Another game that I'm completely off of here. Everyone last couple of days has been Padres run line. Mackenzie Gore dominated these Reds. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 7 Ks, 2 walks, no earned runs against them. Vlad went against the Padres, 4 2/3, 2 hits, 3 earned runs off a home run, 4 walks, 2 Ks. And, we've seen these rematches recently going back and forth, but they've been going the way of the pitcher. I can name a couple instances. For example, Kevin Gausman and Nick Pivetta, in the Rogers Center going out there and then both pitching well against their lineups again. Is that a symptom of the Red Sox being crap and maybe Nick Pivetta just being a better pitcher on the road? But we'll see. I would lean towards another under here, honestly. I'm feeling like Noli knows, like I said, but I couldn't get to the window on this one. The Reds right now against lefties, they're hitting they have 61 weighted runs created plus. That's 29th in the league. And the Padres, of course, 17th against right-handed pitching with a 92 weighted runs created plus. So another under spot for me, but I'm going to stay off here. Wouldn't be surprised if a young pitcher like Mackenzie Gore tries to go out there and pitches the same way, and maybe the Reds make adjustments to hit off of him. So we'll see here, but nothing for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's crazy about this game, too. Anytime you see Vladimir Gutierrez, you're trying to find a way to take a team total over, even a game over at this point. An 8.17 xFIP, which is ridiculous. Sometimes you don't even realize that these numbers can go that high, both sides of the plate, lefties and righties smashing him. But it also just because you're a bad pitcher, you need a decent lineup to try to exploit a bad pitcher. And that's not what you're getting here out of San Diego so far this year, at least from a right-handed perspective. If you're looking at the ISO power numbers, outside of Jurickson and Profar's 241 ISO power numbers, right-handed pitching. Everybody else in that lineup, Jose, is below average. So then you flip it over and say, okay, if you're still trying to work in a number here, what makes sense? Gore, the lefty on the mound, xFIP number, decent this year, 4.07. But usually with a lefty, they don't do so well against right-handed batters, but that's not the case with Gore. He's faced 33 batters this year from the right side. How about this? A 195 weighted on base percentage and an ISO power number of 125. And if you line up the card today, they're going to stack a ton of right-handed batters, being the Reds, going up against Gore. And that's not a great thing here. The only lefty in the lineup tonight is Joey Votto. And even Joey Votto, through 27 at-bats versus lefties himself, a 0 ISO power number. It's wild. This game, we should be circling overs here in Cincinnati at Great American Ballpark. But today, I'm on the under train with you again, Jose, in this one. I think it stays under.
The only concern here weather-wise for me would be the 8-mile-per-hour wind blowing out here, perhaps. But I don't think the wind and weather ever dissuades me from taking something, unless it's in Chicago, obviously. Yeah. But I want to stay off this game. I've got 8 plays already going into this, so I just wasn't feeling this, but I would lean towards the under 8.5 here, and that's one of the higher totals that we have on the card today. So look towards the under, and you wouldn't dissuade people from taking the Reds here at a plus 140 price either. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Interesting how they do. Next game, a game that I have action on, and a game that I'm excited to watch. Drew Rasmussen. He is one of those guys, the pitching plus stuff plus guys. He's been pretty good this year. They traded for him from the Brewers. The Rays did. I believe that was in the Willy Adames trade. 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks at Chicago for Rasmussen. That was coming off of 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs off a home run, 0 walks, 2 Ks at Chicago, which in retrospect may be a little concerning because the White Sox have been that poor. But, it's still Chicago. They still got names in there. Versus Marco Gonzalez, a pitcher that if you watch this program frequently, you guys will know I do not like Marco Gonzalez. I think he's a fade pitcher throughout the whole year. And last time out for Marco, he went 4 2/3, 6 hits, 6 runs, only 2 of them earned, 6 Ks and a walk. And I appreciated his previous start to that one, a 7-inning outing versus the Astros, 1 earned run, 4 hits. Marco, keep pitching fantastic because I want to keep fading you here. I am on the Rays first 5 -1/2 here. I got it at -110. I believe in this pitcher in Drew Rasmussen. His stuff plus is 109.7, location plus 102.9, and his pitching plus, which is kind of a combination of the two, including more factors and such, 107.8. So that all lines up to me. I'm trying to bet on pitchers with an over 100 stuff plus, or at least at 99 to get up there, something that I believe in for right now. And give me that, like I said, give me that first 5 -1/2 here, -110. The only concern here would be Seattle, 6 against righties, 122 weighted runs created plus. This would be my only over game here, honestly. I think this would be a lean over, but I believe in Drew Rasmussen here, and I'll test my luck here.
Yeah, it's a decent look there. And by the way, everybody in the chat box, thanks for the kind comments out there. Always fun talking baseball with Jose here. We'll have some fun on this card. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had like 4 games to talk about. So it's nice to get that full card and get that nice little perspective here. But I agree with you on Marco Gonzalez. If anybody's ever to watch him pitch, a tumbler is what I call him. That slow, tumbling curveball, trying to work both sides of the plate. And if it doesn't work out, he's in trouble. So if you take a look typically at a left-handed pitcher like Marco Gonzalez, he's going to be tough for lefties to pick up. Those slow junk pitches here. And he's handled left-handed batters very well. But the problem here comes with right-handed batters. He's faced 49 of them this year. Extremely high weighted on base average, Jose, at a 403 and an ISO power number of 356. And if we look at the lineup tonight here for those Tampa Bay Rays, lefty in the lineup, which will be Lau, 235 weighted on base percentage, which isn't great here. The only other true lefty in the lineup is going to be Kevin Kiermaier, and he also struggles against lefties. But the right-handed batters, including the switch hitters, should do some damage. Just take a look at the top 4 in this lineup. Arozarena, 387 weighted on base percentage. Wander Franco, 510. Ramirez, 362, and Yandy Diaz, a 492. So those first 4 guys in the lineup should do damage against Marco Gonzalez. And I'm not so much like a yes-run first-inning guy, no-run first-inning guy. But if you're going to score some runs here, the first 4 guys in that lineup should be able to do some damage. And I think that a first 5 is very smart here because I do think that if we're taking a look here from a pitching matchup perspective, if you just line up these 2 pitchers with these 2 lineups, Tampa Bay does have the edge here. So forget about the bullpens here. Tampa Bay should have a lead. I agree with you after 5 innings.
It'll be a fun game to watch. Rasmussen, whatever we're calling him nowadays, is a good pitcher, I believe, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch for sure. And this has been feisty. And by the way, obviously, like we mentioned on top of the show, the Rays look horrible yesterday. They couldn't get out of their way, making errors left and right. Obviously, I think Kevin Cash is a great manager, and he'll be like, you know what, guys, let's focus in. And I think this to be a clean game for the Rays, a clean game, more than usual for the Rays. Next game on the docket, Colorado Rockies versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, Donnie, I've got an issue, Donnie. I'll be honest. I think last time I was on, you talked me through some things. We had some therapy time with Donnie Rightside, and here we are again. Therapy with Donnie. Every year I buy in on the Phillies. Every year. The last 3 years I have bet them to win the division. And for some reason, I just buy into this bullshit they feed me every year. They try to fix their problems, and it just seems like it always just like runs into a wall. Something happens, and I don't feel great about the Phillies right now. I don't love them at a minus 210 price here, obviously, with Ryan Feltner on the bump. You've got an unknown there. Who knows? 2-0 so far in AAA this year, 3.10 ERA in 20 innings, but a 4.4 FIP. So who knows there? But Ranger Suarez and the Phillies, I'm more worried about them overall as a team. I don't love their defense, obviously, is the big thing that everyone coming into this season. Donnie, I want you to tell me how you feel about the Phillies. You know, you're in there. You know, you're in the nitty gritty.
Yeah, feels about the same here from what we expect each and every year. Now, I was a lot more higher on the Philadelphia Phillies this year than in previous years because you put a lineup together in that ballpark, and if you need be, Jose, you can outslug other teams. Well, across Major League Baseball, the goal of 2020 so far, or 2022, is not to actually outslug teams. It's to feel like what the heck is going on with the baseball, what changes are being made, because if you were built so far to outslug other teams, that's not the pathway to victories. We see so many, or the overwhelming majority of games winding up in and under. Now, if that changes with some hitting environments, like today, we're going to be in the 40-degree range in Philadelphia. One day, it's going to get warm here, but not feeling all that great. But as I do think the summer evolves, and maybe they do change the baseballs a little bit or go back to using the baseballs that actually travel a decent distance, the Phillies will be able to out-hit other teams. But the argument's going to come in, what are you getting out of Zach Wheeler this year? What are you going to get out of Aaron Nola? If you can get two really good performances out of those two frontline rotation guys, I think they'll be okay because the bullpen isn't that bad. We're waiting for timely hitting from the Phillies, which should come once we see those temperatures in the 70s and 80s, particularly at Citizens Bank Ballpark. But I got to tell you, like if we're looking to win the division here, the Mets, I mean, outside of today, really look like a juggernaut, getting ridiculous starting pitching, a very good bullpen, timely hitting. And, oh, yeah, did we mention that Jacob deGrom is probably not going to come back for at least another month, it looks like, and it doesn't even matter right now. So the Mets are going to be the tough team to beat here in the East. But I do feel better, Jose, than I did previously about the Philadelphia Phillies over the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it has been a slow, steady crawl. And we can talk about the baseball real quick, a slow aside here real fast. MLB is just botched this one again completely. They made a baseball. They tried to, I don't know what they tried to do to begin with, but they essentially made a baseball that is flying off bats faster than any balls have flown off bats. They've been smashing those records with Giancarlo. But when they get up in the air, they die and they don't fall far enough for home runs. So they're just making them extremely dangerous for like pitchers and stuff, for comebackers and all that stuff. And then just not giving the fans what they want with dingers. So they've just fucked it up again. We saw Chris Bassett last night, I believe it was, come out and say like pitchers aren't getting a grip. The Mets keep getting hit in the head and all this stuff. We saw benches clear again today. I mean, it's been just an absolute shit show. And there have been articles written saying that once the weather warms up, the balls and the humidity and all that stuff, it'll start to get a little bouncier, and meaning that the overs and innings and runs will start coming and all that good stuff. But they just keep fucking it up. I think this is the only sport that fucks it up this badly with their the thing they play with the game. Like, I don't understand. What are we doing? It's crazy to see. And this feels like the sticky stuff issue all over again last year. Last year, I was all over strikeout props because I knew that sticky stuff was running rampant and all that stuff. They were getting strikeouts crazy. And then once you hear that the sticky stuff's being banned and all that stuff, you start betting the overs because we know how the pitchers are going to have to start adapting. So we might be hitting that process now because we said at the top of the show again, a lot of numbers starting to be put up. We saw 21-0, a couple days ago, another 10-run performance today. They're slowly starting to come back up, and maybe it's Major League Baseball and being like, you know what, we fucked up the ball again. Let's put up another ball in there. And we don't know. The fucked up thing about it is we'll never know. We'll know 3-4 years down the line when they say, hey, guys, you know what? Hands up. We had like 6 different balls in circulation. Who the fuck knows? For that Hall of Fame game or whatever, the Field of Dreams game, yeah, we had Drew's balls in there. Sorry. That's the shit that's going to happen. So that's the shit we have to navigate in baseball, and it's insane. It's insane, Donnie.
No, it's pretty tough too because it's the only sport, right? Imagine in basketball, like, hey, the basketballs are a little bit slick here. Let's get this other one in there. Ooh, there's too much, air in this basketball. The next one that comes in, it dribbles a little bit high. It's the only sport that does this. You're right. Hockey, hey, did we freeze the puck? Did we not freeze the puck? Is it more dense or not? You never hear this stuff. And you're talking about one of the most important instruments in professional sports, the actual baseball, where a pitcher is getting a baseball in the first inning that feels good, the second inning not so good, the third inning bad, the fourth inning it feels a little bit better. Only in Major League Baseball does this happen, where I guess there's just 2 or 3 people in Major League Baseball in the commissioner's office that just press a button and say, okay, this week, baseballs that travel further. Ooh, a little bit too much on this one, Jose. Next week, these baseballs aren't going to travel as far. It really feels like they're playing that type of situation with the Major League Baseballs right now. It's asinine. And as gamblers, I would love to know if this week, Jose, they put in the good baseballs, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
That information for us would be so big. If we had boots on the ground, someone would be like, hey guys, we'll have to juice balls on this game. Everyone just throw their money on the overs. It'd be crazy. And that's what, Donnie, I'll tell you right now, because we have a Little League World Series game or whatever scheduled this year on the Major League schedule, and another Field of Dreams game coming up on those schedules. There is zero doubt in my mind that there's going to be juice balls in both of those games again, because they want those numbers and they want those ratings. So I will be betting overs on those games. Whatever number they are, I will be taking the over. Just know that now, everyone. It's a crazy thing that we have to deal with in baseball, but it makes it fun to cap. It makes it more fun to cap, at least.
It does.
Next game on the docket, where we have the Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees. Tyler Wells, Jordan Montgomery here, and Donnie. I was on Betting with the Bag this morning. Jimmy was waxing poetically about how much money keeps coming out on the Orioles today against the Yankees. And I took the plunge. I took Orioles full game money line. I got a shitty line. I got a plus 208. There's plus 230s, plus I think plus 250s even still out there available. But Jordan Montgomery is a pitcher that traditionally does not get a lot of run support on the Yankees, And a lot of people betting the Orioles was my big red flag here. And this was my, this is less, capping to do with. This is less, I want to see what happens here. If you do put your money on that spot that everyone seems to throw their money to it, you can see the line dropping, and a big plus money dog here. I'll take the chance here on a plus 200. Roll the dice here again. Jordan Montgomery doesn't get run support too often. Tyler Wells, I would say he sucks, but the Yankees offense has been that bad. So I'll take the Orioles here, a team that's scrappy against the Yankees, plus 200. Not a play that I'm telling people to tail actively. I've already put it out, tweeted it, made it official, all that good stuff. But I expect this to be a close game. And if I'm wrong and it blows up early, then I'm wrong. But it'll be a fun game to watch if it does end up being close.
Yeah, it might have been the good baseballs in the Bronx last night, as we had 20 combined runs here and 3 home runs by Anthony Rizzo. If we take a look at Montgomery, this is one of those things where you're waiting for the advanced analytic numbers to actually hold up to game play, because he has a high xFIP. Talking about Montgomery here, sitting at a 5.21 K percentage, under 20%, but he's actually handled his business here, Jose, between lefty batters and righty batters. A 193 to lefties as a weighted on base percentage, and righties at a 245. Now, the tough part's going to be is typically you like to stack a lot of right-handed batters against left-handed pitchers, which makes sense here. The only problem here is not a lot of great bats here from the right side early in the season for the Baltimore Orioles. If we take a look at Mullins, who's actually a lefty, he's got a weighted on base percentage of 349. You got Mancini at 411, Santander at 347. After that, it really falls off. 241, 217, 310, 330, 257, and 115. So maybe runs would be a little bit tougher to come by here for the Baltimore Orioles. And having said that, you're right. Well, it's not a great pitcher here. 6.57 xFIP on the season. He's only faced 39 batters, but both lefties and righties consistently getting on base. And if you're taking a look tonight, it's cooler temperatures in the Bronx, but it is blowing out to right field. So maybe taking a look at Anthony Rizzo, who's been stellar against right-handed pitching this year. If we take a look here, 465 ISO power number and a 483 weighted on base percentage. Might he stay hot and go yard tonight? That's something to keep an eye on. But you are a better man than me, taking those Baltimore Orioles on the road for a W here. But that is a nice price, over $2.
Yeah, and it's I've got 15-mile-per-hour winds blowing out to right. So
yeah.
It's definitely looking like an over spot here. And traditionally you would go into this game saying, I don't want to outslug, or I don't want to have an Orioles team to outslug the Yankees. But right now, I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances with an Orioles squad. Obviously, the chat keeps is saying that Ryan Mountcastle's out, and that's going to hurt. Obviously, he's a great hitter, and I think he led the American League in home runs last year. So obviously, he's a power guy, but I'm taking the Orioles, and that feels weird to say, and it's obviously I would rather take the plus 200 dog than a minus 200, obviously. So we will see what happens there. I'm excited to watch that game. I'll have an eye on it the entire time, and it would be a true shame if the Yankees lost to an Orioles team. I would really hate to see that. Next game on the docket here is a game that everyone's excited for because of this pitcher. And Donnie, we have a reoccurring segment on this program with my friend, my close personal friend, Pablo Lopez. It's called Did Pablo Respond Today? And me and Pablo, we were pen pals last year, Donnie. We would talk on the Instagram machine, It would just be me giving him a compliment on whatever, I like your shoes. Good outing today. And he'd say thanks. We'd share a laugh about something. And I thought, when baseball season rolls around, let's rekindle my friendship with Pablo. He has not responded to me this year.
Man.
He has not responded to me this year. So we are in critical levels with Did Pablo Respond. It really hurts my feelings as a fellow Venezuelan. I would only expect to respond. Together. Sure. Yeah, I know. That's what I told him. I think I said those exact words when I first started talking to him. But unfortunately for me, I guess I've got my money on him, and I've bet it twice actually here. I've got the first five under first five under 3.5 minus 115, and the first five under 4 at minus 120. I got the 3.5 last night, and I was like, wow, that's pretty low. I mean, I kind of expect that, so I bet it whatever. And then I wake up this morning and I see it's at 4 now, and I'm just like, wow, that's crazy to see for just 5 cents more or whatever. I'll bet them both times because I think both of these guys are okay. Hold on. We'll say hold on with Fetty. I think Pablo Lopez is a good pitcher, and I think Eric Fetty is a good pitcher against the Marlins. Last year against the Marlins, and I can go with his career, but I'll just stick with last year. 2-0, 1.61 ERA, 4 games started, 22 innings pitched, 7 runs, 4 home runs, and 4 earned runs. That's in 27 strikeouts, only 2 walks. 2 walks against these Marlins last year. Marlins offense is basically the same. Add Jorge Soler, who I'm not that high on. Jacob Stollen's a defensive catcher. And I'll take my chances on the first 5 under here. My main concern is not Eric Fetty. It's Pablo Lopez. Pablo Lopez, a big home road splits guy. He pitches much better at home. And now he's going out to Nationals Park. I hope that Pablo's going to pitch well here. 21st are the Nationals, and weighted runs created plus at an 85. So they're obviously below average. So I will take the first 5 unders here in both 4 and 3.5, and we'll see how that goes. This could be a disaster spot for me because trusting Eric Fetty is scary, and trusting my friend Pablo Lopez on the road is scary. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and let's see here. And I know Fetty sucks. I know Fetty sucks, Viper Envy. I know. But these numbers cannot lie here. The numbers do not lie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. And I do not hate the Marlins first 5 minus a half here as well. But, Donnie, what do you have here?
Yeah, I agree with you on Pablo Lopez. He's been great. I mean, if you take a look at ERA, which I don't use that much of a metric there, 0.52 ERA, a 2.83 Sierra number, and also XFIP minus, which is great, which incorporates where you're actually pitching at. He actually has a 75, which 100 is the Major League Baseball average. So anything less than that, you're certainly doing your job. But if we do take a look at Pablo Lopez, he's been great, Jose. 32 batters from the left-hand side, 32 batters from the right-hand side that he's faced. He's dominated them both. A 119 to lefties and a 249 to righties. That's sensational. So Pablo Lopez, if you are listening and you want to get back to Jose, do me a favor tonight on the unders. Pitch around Juan Soto. Pitch around Bell. Get those guys out of the rotation there, and you can dominate the rest of this Washington Nationals lineup. Now, if we flip it over to the Miami Marlins hitters here with Fetty on the mound, they don't scare you all that much either. Chisholm's actually having a very good year, to be honest, against right-handed pitching. A 439 ISO power number and a 442 weighted on base percentage. Sanchez also having a good year. Garrett Cooper there, 383 weighted on base percentage. Wendell, 399. There's not a ton of power. So if these pitchers say, you know what, I'm not going to challenge the best hitters on each team, Jose, you should be getting an under in this game. You really should.
I think it's going to be interesting. By the way, Derek Potta just jumping in the chat, my fellow Venezuelan, I believe. Shout out to you, Derek. Do you like Anthony Rizzo to hit a home run tonight? Boosted on DraftKings plus 500. I will say Donnie Rightside does like that. He has an interesting look. The wind blowing out and all that stuff. My only concern is that those boosts are always, they always seem so tasty and they feel like they never win. And I feel like they never fucking win. But so just be aware of that, Derek. Next game on the docket here, game close to my heart, a game that's been fucking infuriating me the whole time. Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays. Red Sox get their hearts stomped on twice in this series. They are down some pitching here due to Tanner Houck, which is unfortunate. Michael Wacha versus Ross Stripling on the bump, and I believe it was said that Michael Wacha thinks that Ross Stripling is his best friend in the majors. Very interesting note there. You got to keep those X factors in your capping notebook. Michael Wacha at the Tampa Bay Rays, last time out, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 run runs off 2 home runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Ross Stripling last time out at Houston, got a little humbled, but he's had a pretty good 2 starts this year so far. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 run runs, 2 Ks, 1 walk. Last time out for Ross Stripling. Before that, he obviously dominated versus the Oakland A's, which is, it's a feat. It's a feat. They're over 500-ish right now, I believe. I think they're still there. But 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 Ks, no run runs for Ross versus the A's. Michael has been dominant this year. It's been really dominant this year. I've been impressed by his performance. I'm going to call this game a must-win for the Red Sox, and I will point out the line movement here is pretty drastic. I've got a plus 121 on the screen from earlier this morning. Right now, I'll refresh my page. It's at a plus 106 for the Red Sox, minus 126 for the Blue Jays. And I'll tell you, I saw all this line movement start coming when Alex Cora was announced in coming back to this game. And I'll tell you, there's not many managers that I think matter in baseball to a team, but Alex Cora, I think, is the best, if not top 3 manager in baseball, and he definitely matters to this squad. It'll be nice to have his breath of fresh air coming into this lineup, into this clubhouse. Hopefully the Sox hit here. All this to say, I took the Red Sox team total over 4, minus 115. I don't trust Ross Stripling. He's bit me in the ass once. I took the team total over for the Oakland A's against that in that game. Bit me a little bit, but I'm going to keep fading him here, and I'm going to pick on this Red Sox team that has not got to start offensively, but is hopefully better than what they've projected so far. So
Sox.
Go ahead, Donnie.
No, I was going to say, Sox been a trendy dog the past couple of nights, and rightfully so. Maybe tonight they get over the hump here. And again, trusting these pitchers, which is interesting. Both of them have elevated xFIP numbers, but actually very good weighted on base percentages from both lefties and righties here. So if we take a look at the lineup today, it's an 8.5, 8, depending where you're shopping it with the total. This game should get over if you're trying to build on projections of what these guys are supposed to do. Sooner or later, Jose, the Boston Red Sox lineup is going to wake up, because if we take a look at Ross Stripling on the mound, a 4.80 xFIP number, he doesn't strike anybody out. 11.9% of the batters, walks a little bit too many guys. If we take a look at Xander Bogaerts, a 402 weighted on base percentage versus righties this year. Everybody else in that lineup is below the major league average. Sooner or later, that's going to change. And if we take a look at the Toronto lineup, they're built on some power guys there. Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Gurriel. They got some real, nice guys at the plate here to get after Wacha, who's got an xFIP of 5.05. But again, he's handled his business against lefties and righties with the weighted on base percentage. I think it catches up. And again, the trend is unders in Major League Baseball. Sooner or later, that's going to start to even out. Maybe it was yesterday with 15 games, 8 overs, 7 unders. But I do take a little bit of a nibble on the over in this, because both of these pictures, xFIPs, are dealing in that teetering territory. Sooner or later, it's going to bite him. And tonight, I think it might.
Yeah, and I will say that this morning the total was at a 9 right now on Bovada. It's at 8.5. You're seeing some 8s. That's a concern. If you're an over better, just wait. Sit and wait right before first pitch. Go ahead and lock in an over 8. See what you can do here. I would agree with you, honestly. I mean, the first look, I would agree with that. The market moves aren't always right. We all know that.
Sure.
And I would look towards the over here too, to be honest. I mean, obviously I have the team total over 4. So it'll be interesting to watch the Red Sox here. I mean, this is a must win, like I said, for a lot of reasons. The Red Sox need this game. It's been heartbreaking if you've been betting the Red Sox money line these last couple of days, and I apologize if you have. Next game on the docket: Cubs versus the Braves. This is a very baseball matchup right here. If you were telling someone that I'm going to go watch Cubs Braves on a Wednesday night or whenever it is, that's real baseball right there. Charlie Morton versus Mark Leiter Jr. on the bump here. Shockingly ugly pitching matchup. You know, Mark Leiter obviously is a gas can. We don't have to get too much into him. 4 innings pitched versus the Pirates, 3 hits, 2 earned runs off a home run, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Pretty good for Mark Leiter off of a disaster start versus the Colorado Rockies at the Colorado Rockies. But Charlie Morton has been an issue so far. I mean, first start out, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks, walk. Everyone was like, oh, okay, that's Charlie Morton, and whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's Charlie Morton. I'm going to keep betting on him. San Diego Padres, second start, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 Ks, and we're like, whoa. All right, well, this is a 40-year-old man, whatever. We'll bet on him again next time. Another one, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs off 2 home runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks at the Dodgers. Now, is this a factor of him facing 2 lineups that he's seen a lot? Dodgers and Padres, they have rivals in that, playoffs and all that good stuff. He's a little bit of a slower starter, wants to get ready for the postseason more than the start of the season. So, honestly, I'm leaning over here. This is one of those rare leaning over. 12th right now are the Atlanta Braves against right-handed pitching. And the Cubs, first in weighted runs created plus now against righties. 132. So, I'm leaning over here. Rare over lean for me. But ultimately, I'm going to stay off this game because as Noli No says, I'm not an over better. So, no thank you here. Donnie, what about you?
Yeah, I like the over, but I do like a team total over here with the Atlanta Braves. We finally get some good temperatures, Jose. 73 degrees, light wind blowing out, so certainly conditions that are conducive to scoring. If we take a look at Leiter Jr., not a great pitcher here, right? 5.64 xFIP on this early season, 20% of the batters he's striking out, which is okay. But how about walks? 17%. And also, both lefties and righties hammering away. And if we take a look at the lineup today, we have 6 guys in the lineup for the Atlanta Braves with elevated ISO power numbers and also weighted on-base percentages against right-handed pitchers. And that's Albies, Olsen, Riley, Ozuna, D'Arnaud, and also Demeriti. So if we're looking at 6 guys here out of the 9 that can do damage, the other guys that are actually struggling, Dickerson, Duvall, and Swanson, hey, pitching with a base hit here or there. I took the over 4.5 at a minus 125 price at BetMGM for that. This is my favorite team total of the night. I think the Atlanta Braves at least get the 5 runs, which again, if they hit their team total, flip it over to the other side, the Cubs should help out as well. I like the over in this game, but more importantly, the Atlanta Braves team total, Jose, over the 4.5 at a minus 125.
I like that, Donnie. Like that a lot. By the way, this is not Al Leiter's son. That is Jack Leiter. He is still in the minor leagues. He's actually pitching. He was pitching in San Antonio for the other team that was coming in to face the Missions, and I did not go because I'm doing this lovely show for you people. So shout out to me for missing Jack Leiter. Next game on the docket here: Detroit Tigers versus the Joe Ryan Express and the Minnesota Twins. And I think I have started the official. I think I'm the head of the bandwagon. If you're thinking college football and I hate Oklahoma, I am driving the schooner right now. It's me and Joe Ryan for Rookie of the Year right now. I actually don't have a bet on him personally to win Rookie of the Year, but I think he's at plus 1,800 right now. Jimmy the Bag got him at that, and he's been phenomenal. And every start I've bet on him so far in some form or fashion. I've bet on him at the Red Sox. I bet on the Twins. You guys know how I feel about that stuff. And I took him no problem, and he dominated. I took him again at the Royals, another dominant start. Now, unfortunately, he's too popular. Everyone knows about how good he is. Minus 190 is just ridiculous. I looked at the first 5. That was too juicy. I don't like K props that much. And so ultimately, I just stayed off, unfortunately. The Joe Ryan Express is going to keep on chugging along, I hope. He has another great start, continues that AL Rookie of the Year campaign, whether it is Joe Ryan or Bobby Witt. I'll be happy either way, or maybe Jeremy Pena. I actually have tickets on the latter two, except for Joe Ryan. But So I want them to have a good start here. And I'll say this. I mentioned Stuff Plus and all those metrics. They're not perfect. They're not perfect by any means. And that article I reference is a little bit older now. Joe Ryan's Stuff Plus is an 86.9, not even that high. His Location Plus is the thing that's making him so special, 104.6. He's locating, and those are the guys that I want to bet on. I do not want to bet on a guy throwing out walks. No thanks. So I'll take Joe Ryan here in normal circumstances, but unfortunately, too juiced. So I'm off this game. And I wouldn't even dissuade you from a Minnesota Twins run line. But Michael Pineda is not he's not horrible. So I'm off of it ultimately. Donnie, what about you?
Yeah, not horrible is probably the key word here. And you're also taking a look at not horrible, but maybe horrible is the weather. Be in the 40s with the wind blowing in double digits. So you're probably automatically looking towards unders once again. But by the way, you just take a look at some stats here, right? You see that Minnesota lineup. It's like, man, sooner or later, hopefully they start to get it together. But the one guy that's really got it together against right-handed pitching is Byron Buxton, a 520 ISO power number with a 525 weighted on base percentage. It's almost like, hey, guys, walk this guy and get after the rest of this lineup, and we'll see if he could do damage tonight. But it is a 7 across the board. There are some outlets there with 7.5, which is a little bit juicy, -125, -130. But again, one of those where I'm not really that interested here in taking an over in those weather conditions. So I don't have any wagers per se on this game, but if I were to do something, I'd bump it up a little bit and take the 7.5 to the under.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I wanted to take a first 5 under here, but I just think Michael Pineda is a little too scary for me. I think it's at a 3.5. A lot of places too. Obviously, if you look at Baseball Savant, you can see the matchups there. Carlos Correa smacks him around a bit, and that would be my concern. I do not like betting on someone that gets smacked around by one of their other superstars, the one specifically that's not going. You know, Carlos Correa has expressed, like, I'm trying to find my swing, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If Carlos Correa finds his swing on Pineda and Byron Buxton is continuing to do his thing, that lines up pretty poorly for the Tigers. So I ultimately will stay off this spot as well. And I'll keep moving on to the second to last game on our card here, in a game that I've got a bet on here. I think this is probably my favorite bet of the day, actually. The Houston Astros versus the Texas Rangers. And Glenn Otto, man, has looked pretty good to start off the year. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, walk, 5 Ks, of course. That's at Oakland, so take that with a grain of salt, 1 start, whatever. But I am going to back him here. I'm going to take the first 5 under 4.5, -125. A little juicy. A lot of people were on this play earlier today, too. So shout out to everyone on it. Christian Javier has been the bullpen ace for this Astros squad for a while now. He has been just quietly lurking in their bullpen. Not many people talk about him in the best relievers in baseball candidacy, but he goes multiple innings, and he's great. He's been great this year. 3 2/3, 3 hits, 4 Ks, no earned runs, and a walk versus the Angels. Versus at the Arizona Diamondbacks, 3 innings, no hits, 5 Ks. And then to start off his season, he went up against those Angels. So that second outing, the first thing I said was his second outing against those Angels, who have been one of the best offensive teams in baseball. So just, I love both these pitchers, honestly. And the main concern, obviously, is Glenn Otto. Is he for real? But the thing that will make me feel even better about, even if Glenn Otto is not the best pitcher, I still have the Astros lineup, 15th against righties, 98 weighted runs created plus. Not been great. So, and they're pitching in a pitcher-friendly ballpark, too, in Arlington. So, first 5 under for me here.
Yeah, coin flip game, too, at this point, where you're trying to match up. Say, okay, Javier, 3.07 xFIP, which he's been great and equally handling his business, both lefties and righties here. And if you match that up here with Otto, he's been decent also. Only faced 18 batters so far. But I think maybe the crux of the argument comes in is I'm going to trust this Astros lineup a little bit more than I do the Texas Rangers. Now, hopefully, as the summer progresses, you got some really good bats in that lineup for the Rangers. But Calhoun has really been struggling versus righties. Simeon, same thing. Seager, same as well. Now, if we take a look at Nate Lowe, 409 weighted on base percentage versus righties. He's like that one bright spot in the lineup. Everybody else struggling here. So I would actually take a little bit of a flyer on the Houston Astros at this cheap price tonight to get a W also.
I would lean that way too. I think it's a little surprised to get -124 game.
Exactly.
Yeah. Little surprised there. Yeah. They're still the Astros and they're still the dogs that run this state. But of course, This is the Blackout Bowl, so I won't be watching this game, and it doesn't matter to me because that's how the MLB runs their product. Last game on the docket is the double up for me, and I've got 2 unders here. First 5 full game under here. I love both these pitchers. These are my guys. If I had a bus full of my guys, Zach Plesac and Shohei Ohtani would be at the front of that bus up there. It's 2 pitchers I love here, and I took the first 5 under 4 -120, full game under 7.5 -110 for me. Shohei, of course, -200 for the Angels. That's the Shohei tax. He looks phenomenal against the Houston Astros. He kind of owns the Houston Astros. He pitches against them a lot. I know he seems to have a pretty good outing against them. He had 1 blow-up outing early in his career against them, and I think early last year he had another blow-up outing against them. So I will always take Ohtani in those kind of situations against the Astros. Zach Plesac, like I said, I already love him. Both these offenses are high ranking against righties. 3rd for the Angels and 5th for the Guardians. But I think the Guardians are slowly starting to come down to realization. They're starting to tick down offensively. And the Angels, I think, will get baffled by a good pitcher here. I think Plesac is that good. He had some shitty luck last year, if we remember. He had like all those no-hitters and perfect games or whatever it was thrown against him. And I think he was in. The funny part about it, he was always in those games for a really long time, too. He always made them good games and kept the large starting pitchers in there. So I'm taking the both unders here, first 5 full game, and I'm going to hope for lacks of offense here. Worried about the bullpens a little bit, but that's why we take the first 5 as well as the full game. Donnie, what about you here? Last game on the docket.
Yeah, Ohtani should have a dominant performance this one. If we're taking a look at Plesac, he actually struggles against left-handed batters, but dominates versus right-handed batters. And if we take a look at the lineup tonight, or at least the anticipated lineup, you have Walsh as a lefty, Marsh as a lefty, Wade, and Velasquez, who is a switch hitter. But I'm actually focused on a batter in this game. We talked about taking some guys here a little bit off the radar that could get RBIs, and that's going to be Brandon Marsh, the lefty at the plate tonight. Anticipated to be in the 6th hole, a 321 ISO power number, and a 477 weighted on base percentage versus right-handed pitchers. And again, he's a lefty. What has Plesac struggled with this season so far? 33 batters from the left-hand side, Jose. 406 weighted on base percentage and a 233 ISO power number. Just some statistics there for Marsh. Hits in 5 of his past 6 games. Also, 6 RBI combined in his past 5 games. So I'm looking for him to get an RBI tonight. Set the table, Trout, Walsh, and Rendon. Marsh should be able to get 1 RBI, and if he does, that's a plus 210 price just to get an RBI. I'm going to go with that tonight, have some fun with some plus money here.
I like that look. It makes me feel better about my play here because it's not the dudes, the big dogs, not Ohtani, Trout, those guys that are after him. So that makes him feel a little better. And by the way, I almost leaving out the last game on the docket, the fucking West Coast. That's why people say there's East Coast bias. I almost left it out. Oakland A's, Giants here. I ultimately have nothing on this game. This is it seems like an under game as well.
That's it.
I mean, you could probably be blind betting unders up until yesterday and feeling great about yourself. Paul Blackburn has started out pretty well. You can take a 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run performance, 4 Ks, no walks versus the Tampa Bay or versus the Baltimore Orioles, and you can take that to the bank however much you want it. And then you can see a Sam Long and a bullpen day for the Giants. Best bullpen in baseball right now, 1.7 ERA. Small sample size, obviously. They have a kind of a 3.6 or 3.16 FIP, I should say. So that's a little concerning, but they leave 85% of their runners on base too, so that makes me feel great. That's one of the stats I like looking at for bullpens, by the way. Left on base percentage. I want my relievers to leave those guys on base, and that stat is very indicative of it. So I will stay off of this game. I lean under, but nothing for me here. Like I said, I've got a bunch of plays, and I don't want any more of them, I think. So, Donnie, what do you have here?
Yeah, out in the Bay Area, it always screams unders there. But sooner or later, Paul Blackburn is going to get hit. I mean, he got torched up last year, so it's surprising to see him with a 260 xFIP number here, not walking any batters and dominating both lefties and righties. Sooner or later, that's going to change. But early in the baseball season, San Francisco, the Bay Area, high 40s, low 50s, light winds there. It screams under at this point. And you're right. If you're going to deal with bullpens in baseball, San Francisco Giants certainly one of those that you want to lean on. I look for under in this, but I with you, not really any action in this game late night tonight.
By the way, another case of line movement working out, I believe. There's a lot of line movement on the Arizona Diamondbacks today, and I believe that game just went final. I believe it was 4-1, 3-1, 3-1 final, I think, actually. Dodgers only gave up 2 hits and lost. That is
crazy.
That is sickening if you're a Dodgers fan or a Dodgers backer there. So, all right. So this has been a fun time. Sorry for that East Coast bias there at the end. Apologize for all you West Coasters, but your baseball doesn't matter apparently. Whatever. I've got a thick card here, and I'm gonna run it down, Donnie, and then any plays you want to make official for us, you'll get to you, and it'll be a good time. We'll start off the plays that already happened. Lose the Mets St. Louis game under 7, but we come back. Dodgers, Arizona Diamondbacks first 5 under 4. Very non-sweatish. No sweat there. 1-0, I believe, it ended it for the first 5, so that was awesome. We also have got the 2 plays in Miami, Washington. I've got the first 5 under 4, first 5 under 3.5, -120, -115, respectfully. Hopefully that doesn't blow up in my face. Houston versus Texas. The first 5 under 4.5, -125. The double up in the Guardians Angels game, first 5 under 4, -120, and full game under 7.5. And for the sides I guess these are kind of sides. First 5, Tampa Bay Rays, -0.5 at -110. Hoping my boy Drew Rasmutin can do the job for me. Red Sox team total over 4. God, come on, Red Sox. Don't fucking do this to me again. Let's behave this time. And lastly, the dog shot of the day, I guess. Baltimore Orioles money line +208. It'd be a real shame if this Red Sox fan saw the Yankees lose and my Red Sox score over 4 runs tonight. I'd hate to see that, Donnie, truly. What about you, Donnie? What are you making official today?
Yep, tonight, make it official. Last time I was on the show, took an under, which worked out well. I'm just going to stick and keep it simple here. Atlanta Braves team total over 4.5, -125. They get the 5 runs tonight. We're looking at some scoring and finally some warmer temperatures in baseball at 73 degrees. It ain't that warm here in the Northeast today. Won't be tomorrow, but hopefully once we get closer, which we're only a couple days away from May, let's get some temperatures in here, get some hitting weather. But I'm going to go with those Braves tonight over the 4.5.
Beautiful, Donnie. This has been a fun time. Thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait for our next show together. It'll be a good time. I've already got it on my schedule. I just have not told you about it, so I cannot wait.
There you go.
You know how that goes, Donnie.
Yeah. Yep.
You know how that goes. Thank you guys for watching. As always, we will give everyone in the shout out in the chat. Ronnie and Bergia, AOD, Mr. Doctor, as I call him in my head, Chief, Donzo, Renee Fisher. Fade That Guy Picks. By the way, Fade That Guy's Picks is doing exactly as his name says. He's on the over 7.5. Free money there. I like that. I'm assuming that's in the A's game. There we go. And by the way, Andrew Styler, thank you for keeping my shit together with the A's Giants game. Donzo, my man, thank you for watching. Anthony, DJ and Woodworker, Ron Crawford, appreciate you, my guy. I think, the Royals lost, but they put up a good fight. I appreciate your Royals there for doing something. Jake Burns. By the way, Jake Burns, I don't know about the juice, so I would parlay. I think I would go full game run line just so you can make your parlay a little bit better, Jake Burns. I don't know if you've already hit that submit button, but that would be my take there. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. It's been a fun show. Donnie, any final thoughts for today?
No, let's get after it and have some fun and cash some of these tickets in.
Awesome, guys. Well, don't forget to say hey on social media. Follow us on Twitter at Jose Bouquett. You can see at Rightside VP over there for my man Donnie. Go watch his shows. It's going to be a great shine. By the way, Mr. MDR wants to know, Donnie, where are your shows?
Sports Grid Network, morning 7 to 9 a.m., both on TV and also on Sirius XM channel 159. And then the afternoon 1 to 3 exclusively on Sirius XM channel 159. Fun, talk it up, call in the show, have some fun, and Jose will be a guest shortly on that program as well.
It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. By the way, shout out to DX Filer, my man, my new best friend. Shout out to DX Filer. Appreciate you, my man, Gamble Steen. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. Say Hey Plays 22 coming up tomorrow. 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern, and whatever that time is Pacific, because we don't fucking do math here. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Or tomorrow.